Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to those of you who are here in our sanctuary. We're inside because apparently here in Southern California it's cold, I'm told. And Shabbat Shalom to those of you joining us at home. Whatever time zone you're in, Shabbat is here in Los Angeles, and we are so thankful. That's, I suppose, the theme of this week. We are thankful to be able to bring in Shabbat together, both near and far. And I have to admit that despite the fact that it was 80-something degrees yesterday, which I'm still not used to for Thanksgiving, and despite the fact that most of my Thanksgiving memories involve the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and big buildings all around, there is something about this week that makes me feel like I should be like frolicking in a pile of leaves, you know, in some perfect autumnal vista. And I came across this poem by Jane Kenyon, the author and poetess, that I loved, and I was thinking about it as the sun was going down. Now it's a little darker, but I thought it was a beautiful entry into maybe this Shabbat in particular, and so I thought I'd share it as we begin. Let the light of late afternoon shine through chinks in the barn, moving up the bales as the sun moves down. Let the cricket take up chafing as a woman takes up her needles and her yarn. Let evening come. Let dew collect on the rake abandoned in long grass. Let the stars appear and the moon disclose her silver horn. Let the fox go back to its sandy den. Let the wind die down. Let the shed go black inside. Let evening come. To the bottle in the ditch, to the scoop in the oats, to air in the lung. Let evening come. Let it come as it will, and don't be afraid. God does not leave us comfortless, so let evening come. And in fact, tonight, certainly, God leaves us not only not comfortless, but filled with hope and anticipation of Shabbat. And so we'll begin in our Siddur on page 2 as we welcome those Shabbat angels singing the words of Shalom Aleichem. Let it come as it will, and don't be afraid. Our tradition wipes away any of those fears of the dark by saying that we begin our Shabbat with lights. And so we turn to, I believe it is on page 2, as we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvot
And in the spirit of greeting, we continue with greeting the Shabbat bride. Lecha Dodi is on page 20.
Lecha Dodi litrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. lecha dodi litrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi litrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. lecha dodi litrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi litrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
We invite you to rise and face the Shabbat bride.
בריא ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. lecha dodi litrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. lecha dodi litrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
And now we continue with our call to prayer. Our Baruch Hu is on page 28. And words reminding us of God's unending love, Ahavat Olam, is on page 32.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. מלכנו אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, נגי יומם בלילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד, כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו מה עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
One of my favorite authors describes a place of safety, the place of love, as the place where you are held and you are free. She says it's the place that you are held no matter how you feel, how you behave, who you are, right? No matter what, you are held. And also places of safety and love are the places that you are free to be your fullest self. And She happens to be religious, not Jewish, but religious, and I think she has to imagine that the words of Mi Chamocha, our song of redemption, are words of being held and being free. That when God asked Moses to lead us out of Egypt, God says, let my people go that they may serve me. God says, let them be free, and I will hold them. And so I hope all of us, as we feel held and free, feel that gratitude and that sense of redemption, and we continue with the words of Mi Chamocha, page 40. Hashkivenu, our evening prayer, is on page 42. Here in our Siddur, in our prayer book, there are these words that say, prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. As we turn to the words of the Mishaberach L'Cholima prayer for those in need of healing, we know that our words might not actually be what is doing the healing, but for us and for the people we keep in our prayers and in our hearts, perhaps it does water an arid soul or mend a broken heart or give a little bit of hope and strength to face the next day, the next challenge, and hopefully overcome them. And so we invite you, as we offer the words of Mishaberach, a prayer for healing. It's on page 253 if you want the words, and to just shine forward the names of those you're keeping in your hearts and in your prayers.
Source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We reach for you, our God, from our quiet spaces. May we stand still for a brief moment. We need a quiet space to test the balance of our days, the weight of our own deeds against the heaviness of the world's demands. The balance is precarious. Steady us. Quiet places and stillness where we'll hear our own best impulses speak. Quiet places and stillness from which we will reach out to each other. We invite you now to rise in body and or in spirit. We turn to the words of the Amidah, which are prayed silently on this evening service. The words of the Amidah go from page 48 to page 62. We invite you to take the words you need, leave the ones you don't, bring others that come to you, and to feel free to be seated as you finish your prayers. Thank you, Cantor Tanaz, and to our musicians for that beautiful sermon and song in many ways reminiscent for this week. Its words, if you didn't recognize them, from the Hallel service that we sing on our festivals, but certainly the words of Hodaya, of thanks, are certainly a part of our week here. So on this, the Shabbat after Thanksgiving, it would be easy to speak, as I did in a teaching earlier today, about family dynamics, about what I said was the perfect coincidence that the beginning of the Joseph story, a story fraught with, shall we say, family tension, is told just as we come out of the holiday that may feel that way for some. I could speak about love and about conflict, about joy and pain, about emotional growth and personal change, and all the ways we hold those and see those around our family tables. But I want to speak about something even more obvious, and perhaps something even more seismic tonight. I want to speak about gratitude. But before I speak about gratitude, I want to speak about outer space. So on Tuesday night, I stood at the edge of the ocean with about 40 of my friends outside, watching the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, which launched NASA's double asteroid redirection test mission from Vandenberg Air Force Base. It was, as you can imagine, it didn't get scratched, which was like the number one most exciting thing, but it was awe-inspiring. The collision, pun intended, of the most modern science with nature's ancient paths, the intersection of ocean and space, the speed of light and the crashing of the waves all together. It was magnificent. And then, to my surprise, these words appeared in the middle of a sweet romance novel that I've been reading, a bit of escapism from the world. In need of her own escapism, the main character, Hanan, starts thinking about the galaxy inside the universe, inside of other galaxies, inside of other universes. And the author writes, I like to think of our tiny speck of dust Earth wrapped inside its snug little Kuiper belt, cocooned somewhere inside the massive Oort cloud, completely undetectable inside a universe so massive there's no comparison. And here we are, living and dying completely unaware of all that lies beyond. Terrifying, but also comforting, especially when things happen that are hard to understand. And then there's our liturgy. We bring in the evening each night with these words and these images. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, golel or mipnei hoshech, v'hoshech mipnei or, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. It would seem that outer space and its lessons keep finding me this week. It teaches us that we are, each of us, so big. Our problems, our hopes, our joys, our pains. And we are, each of us, so small. Just a speck on a speck on a speck. One of the most well-known teachings of the High Holy Days reminds us of this lesson too. The Hasidic teaching that each of us should have 2 notes in our pockets, if only women's clothes had pockets. One to remind us that the world was created for our sake, and one to remind us that we are but dust and ashes, so big and so small. The business world, and apparently the interior design world as well, are fond of the term right-sizing, which unfortunately most often means getting rid of personnel or of possessions. But I first heard the term from someone who learned it in the rooms, their speak for their 12-step program. Right-sizing, for her and for us, I think, means figuring out how much space we are meant to take up in the world and in our relationships, and refusing to take up any more or any less. Returning to our Torah for just a moment, maybe it is a lesson that Joseph learns along his journey, that there is no glory, it turns out, in being outsized and arrogant and overconfident. But also, there's no blessing in being too small, in not honoring your gifts and your accomplishment. There is blessing, says our tradition, and maybe the American psyche this week, in finding gratitude in the space that you are given. Kenter Tanaz sang so beautifully those words, Ki le'olam chasdo, that God's chesed, God's kindness is everlasting. It is never ending. And there's this beautiful midrash, one of my favorites, where the rabbis explain the central and eternal role of gratitude. Rabbi Pinchas, Rabbi Levi, Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Menachem of the Galilee, so they're up north somewhere, they say in future times, all of the sacrifices will be nullified, with the exception of the thanksgiving offering, which will never be nullified. In other words, in their world to come vision, we won't need to make any other sacrifices. There won't be sin, there won't be wrongdoing, there won't be guilt. There won't even be the need for the well-being offering, only the one of gratitude. And they go on to say all of the prayers will be nullified. No more of the Shacharit or Mincha or Mariv, only the prayer of gratitude, which can never be nullified. And their proof text, they quote Jeremiah, which we say at weddings, right? Moments of great joy. It says, the voice of joy and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the bride, the voice of those who say exactly what we just sang, give thanks to Adonai of hosts, ki leolam chasdo, for God's mercy endures forever. This is the prayer of gratitude. This is the one we will always want to say and always get to say and always need to say. Gratitude never ends. Our tradition suggests that whether you have everything you've ever wanted or nothing you ever thought that you needed, we give thanks. And gratitude in our tradition, it is for the so big, the true miracles, the splitting of the sea and the finding of the oil, a remarkable recovery, a safe birth. And gratitude is for the so small, what we call the nisim b'chol yom, the miracles of everyday life, waking up and taking a breath, seeing a friend, opening your eyes to the day's beauty. Gratitude right sizes. Rabbi Nama Kelman, one of my teachers in Jerusalem, wrote, we praise and we exalt and recognize the miracles of our lives, but deeper gratitude recognizes the simple gift of our lives and the gifts of our daily lives. Our rabbis, ancient and contemporary, are telling us that perhaps this is the practice we must really cultivate, the practice of thanksgiving. So amongst the gifts sent this way, this one not from outer space, was this teaching by Melanie Beattie about gratitude. And she writes, gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It turns problems into gifts and failures into successes, and the unexpected into perfect timing and mistakes into events. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace to today, and creates a vision for the future. Now, in our tradition, in the liturgy, the prayers we speak every day, God is the creator. God is the one who creates order out of chaos and clarity out of confusion. And yet we also know that on Shabbat of all days, God steps back to make space for us. God right-sizes also. As the light rolls into darkness, it is our turn. And so whether you come here or you tuned in feeling big, celebrating the successes and the blessings of the day and the week that was, or if you're feeling small, if you're daunted by the challenges ahead of or behind you, we have these moments together of song and of praise, of reflection and redemption. We have these moments to make sense of our past, even the most recent, to bring peace to today, the day that demands it and the day that gifts it, and to create a vision for our future, however big or small. Now, I know that I should be quoting Stephen Sondheim right now, honoring his memory and the unparalleled gifts he brought into the world. But the words that keep coming to me through these encounters with space and with majesty and with eternity are from other Jewish lyricists and songwriters, Ben Pasek and Justin Paul, writing about a very human tragedy, an enormous moment in the life of a small family. They write of a mother singing to her son, "Your mom isn't going anywhere. Your mom is staying right here. No matter what, I'll be here. When it all feels so big, till it all feels so small. When it all feels so big, till it all feels so small. When it all feels so big, we give thanks. And if it all feels so small, we give thanks for this moment and for right now, for light rolling into darkness and the darkness that will roll into light. We give thanks. Shabbat Shalom. So I was trying to think of the right way to shift from that gratitude into our next prayer, and I thought to myself, in some ways, it is in and of itself a prayer, a blessing, as we turn to the prayer for our country, which I'm sure I will find in just a moment. And I'll invite you, if you want, to join me on page 258 as we come out of a holiday that has a complicated history, because who doesn't have a complicated history? We offer these words that are both gratitude for what we have in this country and also prayer of that vision and that hope for the future. And so we turn to page 258. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing and do not ignore your own king. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. And on page 259, a prayer for the state of Israel.
Avinu shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat Ge'ulatenu.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Avinu shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'go'alo, Amen, Selah, Amen, Selah.
As we turn to the words of Kiddush, it's the prayer that sanctifies the day, but it's also about sweetness. And so I want to invite, if we have moments of sweetness that we are honoring or celebrating tonight, if maybe anyone had a birthday in the past week or has one coming up, we'd like to invite you to stand up. And if you're watching us from home and you're celebrating a birthday, please give us your name so we can celebrate along with you. If anyone has an anniversary, again this week,
I'm celebrating an anniversary,
yeah.
19 years.
Wow, Mazal Tov. Oh,
Today's our anniversary.
beautiful. How many years? 27. You're
Mazel
catching
tov.
up. Mazal Tov. And again, if anyone else at home is celebrating, if anyone is celebrating anything, there's always, new jobs, new homes. Maybe you made like the best turkey of your life. Maybe you finished a 5K yesterday. Maybe like me, you definitely did not. But if you are celebrating anything, or if you're celebrating everything because we're here and we are together and we're celebrating Shabbat, we're going to invite you to rise for the Kiddush, which is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו באהבה ורצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת אמן.
L'chaim. We continue with Aleinu, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. So now I'll share some words by Stephen Sondheim, who passed away today, I'm told surrounded by friends. A little bit about memory and the way we accompany one another from Into the Woods. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Others may deceive you. You decide what's good. You decide alone, but no one is alone. People make mistakes holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes, fight for their mistakes everybody makes. Just remember, someone is on your side. Maybe we forgot. They are not alone. No one is alone. Someone is on your side. No one is alone. And so as we turn to the words of Kaddish, home of the Mourner's Kaddish, we think about people who accompanied us. Maybe those who left us halfway through the wood before we were ready or before they were. And so if you are in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, the 7 days or the month following the loss of a loved one, we'll invite you to rise and share their name. If you're here, and share their name online so we can be with you. If you are in the period of Shana, the year following the loss of a loved one, traditionally a parent, but really anyone you are mourning, we'll invite you to rise and share their name. My father, Marty Laufer. And if anyone here is observing a yahrzeit marking the anniversary of a loss, we'll invite you to rise and share their name. And again, if you're watching us from home, please share names we want to remember with you. We'll invite you now, if it is your custom, to rise as we turn to Kaddish, tome page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chaye echon uvyom echon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those of you here mourning and comfort to those of you who are bereaved, as together we say, amen. In a moment, we'll close with the words that we close the Kaddish with. We close with words of peace. But just before that, as we talk about darkness rolling into light, and it is a weekend of that, of course, as Hanukkah begins on Sunday night, and we just want to make sure you're aware. You can check all of this on our website, but Sunday night, join us online. We'll all be Zooming from our houses to light the first lights of Hanukkah together. We hope you'll join us. We have lightings. If you happen to be on campus at 4:30 anytime during the week, we'll be here lighting the Chanukiah. That will also be streamed. Thursday morning, you should join us to learn how to make a beautiful Hanukkah grazing board. This is my new things. I'm not teaching it, but someone amazing is. And then we hope you'll be back here next Friday night for a really joyous Shabbat celebration. And so I am certainly missing things that are happening during Hanukkah. You should check the website. And in advance, we'll wish you a Chag Urim Sameach, a happy and festive holiday of lights. And so we'll conclude with the words Oseh Shalom, a prayer for peace.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So thank you to everyone who made tonight happen. Thank you to all of you who are here. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.